LasVegasDiscount.net's the best there is. Save up to 50% on your next Vegas trip. And travel, rental, shows, and tours. Find the deals you're looking for. LasVegasDiscount.net. LasVegasDiscount.net. If you're going to Vegas for deals that are the best, visit LasVegasDiscount.net.
FightNetRadio.com with Andrew and Lee, talking boxing, combat, sports, comedy, football, and everything kick-ass. All on FightNetRadio.com. Fight Net Radio!
Hola, soy Julio César Chávez.
That's lights out, baby. Lights out all day.
This is Sugar Ray Leonard, and you listen to Fight Net Radio.
I mean, this is ridiculous. It's a radio show. It ain't a one-hour television spectacular.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
We gon' know. I got eyes and ears everywhere. I got friends all over the world, man.
Who gives a shit with White? He's a piece of crap.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Fight Net Radio. My name is Lee Honish. Welcome to the wonderful world of boxing. And we have a special report and an introduction to our newest, oldest co-host. How hilarious is that? I am joined on the line by Raimundo Dioses. How you doing, Ray Ray? What's new?
I'm doing well. I'm doing good, Lee. How are you doing yourself?
I'm doing great. All right. So you are the newest member on board. We now have an international panel. We now have a local panel. There's a big, giant picture of you on the video that you've already seen, so that's hilarious unto itself.
It is.
Give everybody a brief history of time. Who the hell are you?
My name is Raimundo Dioses, former executive producer for Fight Net Radio, and I had a sabbatical, but I never stopped covering the sport, and unfortunately I ran into Lee Honish a couple weeks ago at a fight, so here we go again.
Simple as that. With all of that said, Ray Ray is bringing us, I feel like you need a nickname. Sorry, Raimundo.
I like it either way.
Does your wife call you Ray Ray?
Ray Ray, I like it.
All right.
Let's roll.
All right. So you're here to break your first story as correspondent. For those of you who don't know, the internet's kind of buzzing. There are two things going on. The Pac-Tards are swimming around about how this is going to be a lopsided Manny Pacquiao knockout affair. That's one thing. Go to Fight Net Radio. We have some video for you of his recent sparring. But most importantly, Canelo and the circulation of Canelo information. You have inside dirt. Do you want to qualify your inside dirt first?
I would like to qualify it by not mentioning any names.
Okay. It's like an Andrew story. I got a phone call from a guy who knows a guy.
Let's go with that.
Okay, so you got a phone call from a guy who knows a guy. Continue.
Okay, well, I'd like to break this to the Fight Net Radio listeners on free Slurpee 7-Eleven Day that Canelo Alvarez will be fighting Sergey Kovalev.
So Kovalev is going to happen. This is a mortal lock in your opinion.
I've received word that it is just X's and O's time right now. So it's agreed to, and now it's down to logistics, perhaps a weight issue, and that's looks to be, for what I've been told, it's just the.
Okay, so let's follow this all the way through. He's going to fight Kovalev. Do we have a venue or a city in mind? I know where you'd like it to be.
I'm not hearing I'm not hearing anything about that. And I'm sure you and Andrew are well aware of. Now it's the whole game of where it's going to be at, who's going to walk out first, who gets the first name on the marquee. Glove, weight issue. So it's going to be down to all of that. It's time for that, but. I'm sure that that's going to get figured out. And what I was told is that we're going to hear something, if not this weekend, early next week.
Okay, so this is going to go out today. We're breaking the news right now. Canelo Alvarez, Saul himself, without me doing my bad Oscar impersonation, and I don't know where my megaphone is to have Oscar secretly call in. Yeah, I've been working on it. I'll be dropping that on you in the future. I think I do a.
I'd like to hear it.
I do a better Bob. I think I do a better Bob.
A better Bob. Okay.
Yeah, Bob's easy.
There it is.
Okay, Canelo's going to fight Sergey. They're going to pick a catch weight. They're working on it right now. The announcement's going to be next week. This is probably going to bleed all over holy hell and back. You have no idea of front runners for city or location. I would assume this has got to be Vegas on some level at the team.
Of course. And this is the promoter phase where a promoter floats out but doesn't specify a specific location because they play each other off of each other. How much is Madison Square Garden gonna offer, and then they will just springboard that to have Vegas up their offer. It's the negotiating phase of how much will the venue pay for it. And, 9 times out of 10, we all know that it ends up in Vegas.
Yeah, more than likely. There you go. There's the biggest breaking news that we've provided from our newest correspondent, who is the first, we said this on the air, our first contract guy to this show today, which is mind-boggling. Is Fight Net growing? Yeah, I guess. That means I probably have to calm down a little bit.
Let's do it, Lee. Well,
Okay.
so Lee, what are your first thoughts on just?
Okay, so it's got to be a
You didn't
catch
even know I was
weight.
going to tell you this.
Okay, the minute you laid it out, I'm thinking
Yeah.
catch weight, which means Sergey's got to come all the way down to super middleweight-ish.
Right.
What's he been cruising around at?
Well, I mean, he's predominantly been light heavyweight for years and years.
And that's a $175, right?
Yep. My other thought too on that was his age as well. Not exactly a young guy.
It's a calculated match, right? So Oscar's not an idiot. He's following the Floyd playbook. This is going to make me sound like I understand boxing again. So following the Floyd playbook, right? You push off Triple G to next year. You know you're going to get that fight. You know it's $100 million, $200 million, $300 million, $400 million purse, right?
Yes.
But you want to cash in on Canelo because he keeps biting off he's on the Oscar fast track of biting off the biggest pieces he can each time, right? The problem with that is you're going to fight guys who can actually beat you at some point, right? Triple G can beat him, right?
Right.
And that fight's probably going to happen in New York, which makes it a neutral location, which means Canelo's not going to get a fair shake this time. That's
I think you're onto something
That's
there.
his story, by the way, not mine.
And that's what I was hearing with the Triple G negotiations as well, is that he was hesitant to go back to Vegas because of the 2 decisions that he received against Canelo.
Yeah, I think he got the short end of the stick, but you and I both know boxing isn't fixed. I'm using my imaginary air quotes, but there's certainly influence on the way judges see it and who they are influenced by. We've actually documented live where we could see on TV promoters talking to referees. Like you can physically see it happen where people are screwing around with scorecards. So if you don't believe that there's some level of influence in boxing, you're crazy. You're crazy. Look at the Cormier fight from last week, right? he only lost on he only came close on one scorecard? Seriously? That dude was kind of in that fight, and you're telling me that in Vegas, Cormier can do no wrong. I'm just saying, there are obvious things where it's always influenced towards the champion or the moneymaker or whatever. I digress. So I would assume Vegas. I don't think Sergey cares. He's already had his big loss. He's not the best in the world. Andre Ward took that away from him, so all he can do is make paydays, right?
And it's, of course, like a cash out for him. He's, a 10-year plus veteran, and this will eclipse his highest purse, which is another Floyd kind of thing. Like I'm sure you and Andrew both know, from the Floyd days, it's kind of like everybody waits around to win the Floyd sweepstakes. Now it's everybody's waiting around for the Canelo sweepstakes because even Triple G hasn't locked down his fight. And, so he is the, straw that stirs the drink, just the way that Floyd did, 10 plus years ago or however long ago.
Right. Every fight is potentially $50 to $100 million. It's a and Oscar's picking very precise opponents that give Canelo the best chance of winning and looking good at the same time. I mean, they're very calculated approaches, and Sergey's no different. I mean, if we're objectively looking at Sergey, well past his prime, he was broken, I'll say that word for everybody, by Andre Ward, who still doesn't get the level of respect he deserves. So Sergey's a beat man. I mean, it looks good on paper. It sells a lot of tickets. It brings a lot of people into Vegas. I think it's a brilliant move. The age works. That just means Canelo has to be faster for the evening. So I think he'll come up. He'll come down a little bit. They'll find a catch weight. Everybody will be happy. They'll get all the sanctioning bodies behind it, so it'll look like all his belts are on the line. It's a moneymaker, and it makes a lot of money, and it's a big name. It's actually a very smart fight by Oscar. Now you push Triple G all the way towards Cinco de Mayo of next year, right?
Right.
Brilliant.
I guess so. And, another thing, aspect of it, which I'm curious of, is what does DAZN think about this? DAZN shelled out $365 million for 11 fights, and what I was hearing was that DAZN wants the Triple G trilogy. So how long are they gonna, sit back and wait for it? What's their input? Is Canelo dictating to them, or is DAZN dictating to Canelo? And I'm just curious on that situation. What are your thoughts on that, Lee?
I think DAZN made mistakes in writing their contracts initially, right? I think based on the way that I see everybody behaving with them, from Eddie Hearn to Oscar, it's like they're calling the shots, right? DAZN wants Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz back in New York. Anthony Joshua is saying, no, I want to fight in London. And that's really what the sticking point of when that fight's going to be announced. It's the location, right? DAZN puts their foot down, we want New York. DAZN puts their foot down, we want Las Vegas. They put it down, they want New York. And what they're finding is, you got to write that stuff into the contract. You're not HBO, right? HBO and Showtime worked like kind of like promoters. I think that's Showtime's biggest flaw right now is that they're backing the wrong pony. In DAZN's case, they backed all the right people, right? Did I lose you?
Right.
DAZN backed the right ponies, but I think they believed that they had more control over the situation of who the opponents would be, and I haven't seen the contract, so I'm not getting crazy here, but if I think DAZN cares about, look, if I was the guy who had that channel, or any channel, and it doesn't matter if it's social media, I would care more about the content than I would about the quality of the content at this point. I think their whole goal is to keep providing fights every single week to compete with ESPN, because Bob is cranking out fights 2 at a time every weekend somehow on ESPN, and it's working. Every time Bob throws something up on ESPN Plus or ESPN Regular, he's 500,000 to 1 million views, and he's averaging it out consistently, right? By giving quality names, bringing up bottom stars. Oscar's not doing that. Oscar's bottom cards, like let's say this week is Indio, right? Is that going to?
Is that Carson?
Carson. That's a DAZN fight, right? But there's nobody on that card. They'll be lucky if they can fill Carson.
I think you're onto something there, Lee. This is why FightNet radio fans should listen to Lee. He's sometimes wrong, sometimes right, and you make some sense here and there.
Occasionally. Very rarely, but occasionally. I'm just looking at it from I look at things from two different perspectives, right? I look at it from my day job perspective because that's my life experience, which is the marketing aspect of it. And then I look at it from the other aspect of it, which is I want to be a fan and I want to be entertained. And as I said to you last week at the fight, how many F fight cards are you going to give me where I sit at 3:00 and just walk my way through a pile of shit to get to, Tyson Fury for 30 seconds. Yay. I mean,
it's true.
And this at least isn't a big bucket of crap. This is something I can mark on my calendar. I would imagine they're shooting for September, possibly. Or are they looking?
And just to shoot a little. Well, you know what? I was actually also reading that Canelo, because we're coming up on a timeline here. We're at June 11th. Once again, free Slurpees, 7-Eleven. I'll plug that again.
It's also $1
okay
coffee
plugs, right?
if you use. It's also let me put my 7-Eleven cup up to the video. It's also $1 any size cup at 7-Eleven. Can't beat that stuff.
There we go. Shout out 7-Eleven. Yeah. So, so that you just bring up a good point, and I just want to shoot it in a little positivity, because sometimes the cynicism and the negativity can, cloud over the boxing. At the same time, we never know when. Are you still there with me, Lee?
Yeah, I'm here with you. Go ahead.
Great. I had to ignore a call. It was Oscar. Yeah, I'll call him later. I'm just kidding.
You're breaking Oscar's story, and he found out about it already.
Right. He's calling me. He's like, hey, don't tell nobody. Every once in a while, we go to a random fight card where we get blessed with a truly great barn burner type fight of the year candidate, fringe contender for fight of the year kind of thing. Just like the same thing that we got with Raimundo Beltran and Rich Okome. Or wasn't that a fun fight, Lee?
It was a fun fight. It was active, and it was fun to watch. Look, the Bryant fight that was in Vegas, which was completely out of the blue, was like a curveball. I just went because it was Vegas, but they put, I like going to those types of fights where, why are these guys the main event? And then suddenly you're watching the main event, and it's, holy crap, this is entertaining. These guys are really going for it. And the truth is, the big guys, the big names have yet to really go for it. I mean, we are few and far between from Triple G Canelo 1.
Yes, that's correct.
But we'll see. So, your first big story here, midweek episode. We are officially putting it out there. Sergey Kovalev will be taking on Canelo Alvarez. Information will be coming forthcoming. Your sources are strong?
Oh, yeah. I have very little to no doubt of this being accurate.
There you go. Check out more. Go to fightnetradio.com. Click on all the links. Join us on social media. Be involved with the conversation. Raimundo will be back next week. We'll get his feelings on Thurman versus Pacquiao fight week. Since you're not going, why aren't you going? I don't even understand this. Why aren't you going?
I had people telling me the same thing. I got the same question, and from the minute it was announced, I've just kind of, and you know what? I'll give you a minute on it. Adrian Broner Pacquiao, I had no interest in going. Pacquiao Thurman, mild interest in going.
Well, the reason you have to go is because Pacquiao, you know that Mayweather's going to show up and challenge the winner. Like that's That's literally what's around the corner.
Perhaps. I think you might be onto something. Mayweather loves some Vegas. Mr. Vegas. He shows up to generally all the big fight cards. That would be something interesting. Something interesting too with Pacquiao is getting emails from Mayweather Promotions.
Yeah,
promoting Manny Pacquiao fight. I mean, it's just wow. Look at the date. Look at how far we've come, Lee. Look at this.
Well, we're at the very end of the
we've got
PBC.
Pacquiao as a
Yeah,
PBC
I'm with
fighter.
you. I'm with you. We're at the very end of the PBC run. Zuffa or Zancor or whatever the hell they're called this week is about to buy them out, and they're about to be a UFC product. So Floyd's got to cash in. Floyd's got to make a pick and find his $100 million fight to add to his purse, or at least set it up so that when they get bought out, somebody like the UFC can promote that event so that he can make $100 or $200 million, which I'm sure that if I was buying out that whole organization, that is something that I would discuss with them. Like, I want to know, can I get Floyd for a fight or two?
So what you're saying, Lee, is on top of our Kovalev and Canelo news, you are breaking news of Pacquiao Mayweather Part 2.
I've been breaking it for a year and a half. I'm eventually going to be right. I think I've said it on every single broadcast so that when it does come to pass, I'll be the greatest genius of all time. But it's still, like I've been saying it since the end of their fight and the fake shoulder injury that Manny Pacquiao got healed by swimming in the water and praying to God, which was the craziest thing I've ever witnessed. I was physically there when I saw Bob Arum single out Aioli or somebody else to like back him up on the Manny had a bad shoulder. And everybody's like putting their heads and looking at each other going, what? Who knew about it? Oh, everybody. Floyd knew about it. You know about it, right, Kevin? What? So Bob is just throwing that shit out there. So that's crazy to me.
I've got a Bob story. I know we're going a little over, but this really sticks in my head, Lee. Pacquiao Marquez 4. Okay, I was ringside and I witnessed that demolition, and I happened to go to the bathroom right after the fight. Who's in the bathroom? Bob Arum. So he's in there. People are noticing. Hey, is that Bob Arum in the bathroom right now? So we get out of the bathroom about the same time, and we're going to the same place, right? The post-fight press conference. And I'm walking behind him, and people are, amazed. Oh, look at Bob Arum, look at Bob Arum. In my head, I'm asking myself, how does he spin this? Pacquiao just had his nose on the canvas, So what is he going to say? We're both walking the same distance, and he's going to have to be Mr. Spin Doctor, right? Mr. Bob. He goes up there, and he says, hey, Pacquiao Marquez 5.
Right.
So that was just an amazing little thing to see there, like, hey, he's on it, old man Bob, he had it ready.
My prostate isn't what it used to be, but I can still think of an answer for the next fight.
Yeah, there you go. There it is.
There you go. Go to fightnetradio.com.
Stuff,
Check out the
stuff.
Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all those things. You can contact Raimundo there if you got any tips or anything you want to get through, or you can send us an email at fightnetradio@gmail.com. All of that is available. Raimundo will be back next week. We will talk. It'll be a full fight week. And since you're not going, that means I probably have to go. You might have to make some calls.
Well, there could be worse things. There could be worse things in life than going to Vegas.
Going to Vegas on a fight weekend is a pain in the ass. Do you think I want to leave the beach to go to Vegas?
To the desert.
To the desert.
For your Fight Net Radio listeners. Yeah. It is. For the Fight Net Radio listeners, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if I get approved for my credential. What would you put it at? It's Magna Media.
I would give you very short odds on getting a.
But here's the thing: Top Rank overturned him. Well, here's the thing: Top Rank overturned him a week ago to get me into their fight, right? So, do you think that's going to sway them or piss them off more?
I don't ever remember Lee Honish being scared to piss people off?
I'm much more casual these days. I am a look. I realize what I did at Magna Media that got me blackballed. I've said it many times. I get what I deserve, right? I wouldn't buy a ticket for Saturday, right? But I'd probably go to the.
Right.
They're not even doing the Friday night fights. Like, there's nothing to sneak in and go see. Like, there's a whole lot of stuff going on.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot going on. Maybe I'll just go for the weigh-ins and stick around and then get out of there and watch it from the comfort of my own home. We'll see. Go to fightnetradio.com next week. Raimundo will get our feedback from our international, European, Australian correspondent. We have one of those. He's willing to watch all those shitty fights on the other side of the world. Gotta love the internet. And, of course, Andrew and I will be here on Sunday to discuss everything. We appreciate all of you listening, and we will talk to you. We'll have Raimundo back on.
Fight Night Radio! FightNetRadio.com with Andrew and Lee. Talking boxing, combat, sports, comedy, football, and everything kick-ass. All on FightNetRadio.com. Fight Night!